AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt. We're here at Marucci Hitter's house on Segan. Alondra's on site. Muse and Paulie are back in studio. We're glad to have you hanging out with us. Y'all coming in, man. Take some hacks in the cage. Remember, they got great memberships as well. 24/7, 365 access. Always great specials here as well. And next week, have some LSU baseball Tigers here at Marucci Hitter's house doing meet and greet, signing autographs. Make sure you're following Hitter's House _BR on Instagram. Hitter's House _BR on Instagram for details on time and day and who will be here. A day ago, I did the thing I do sometimes where I get all Italian ragey and my face gets all red and my bald head sweats and I yell and I lose my voice and all that sort of stuff. And we put the clips on the internet and it goes kaboom because angry, red face, yelling mad is something that the internet apparently likes a lot. And I was really teeing off on the hypocrites around college basketball. And I don't need to go through the whole thing again, but just for a very abbreviated Cliff's Notes version, if you want to go see the whole 12-minute segment, I would encourage you to get it's everywhere. Just go to 104.5 ESPN on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok is everywhere, YouTube. My point is, people are pointing the finger at Will Wade saying he's bad for basketball because of the roster he's assembling. And the point I've made is the roster he's assembling is exactly what everybody else is doing. And the reason LSU's fans collectively get so defensive of Will Wade is because the national perspective of Wade somehow stands in contrast to the way every other coach is perceived when they're doing the exact same things. I rattled off a list of former professional international basketball players playing in college basketball for Duke and North Carolina and Purdue and Illinois and major programs, Florida, and nobody seems to care. But Will Wade goes and recruits some dudes in their 20s who are international basketball players, big problem. Well, and so I went off. It's the hypocrisy. It's the double standard that's a problem. We played a clip from Jeff Goodman, who's a very well-respected college basketball writer and analyst. And he went on a rant against Will Wade using expletives and calling him bad for the game and telling him he sucks and wish he'd stayed away and like literally shot the bird on camera. And then I contrasted with the clip from his take on the Charles Bediako situation, which was being an apologist for Nate Oates, saying everyone does this, everyone feels this way. That's the hypocrisy that bothers so many. And today, another one has come forward, and it's Todd Golden. Yeah, the Todd Golden who, by the way, super, super choir boy, right? Where you got the student newspaper accusing Todd Golden. Well, you all remember the story. If you don't, Google it. I mean, how Todd Golden's still employed, I don't know, but he is. I do know. He won a natty. But Todd Golden shouldn't exactly be the moral compass of college basketball. Anyway, Todd Golden goes on the field of 68 with Jeff Goodman. Now you can kind of sort of piece some things together, right? So Jeff Goodman's reading tweets from anonymous top 20 high major coaches, and then a day later, here's Todd Golden popping up on Jeff Goodman's show. Wonder who some of those tweets were from. Anyway, this was Florida coach Todd Golden talking about Will Wade.
when you're bringing in 25, 26-year-olds that have played, first of all, been drafted and then played professionally for an extended period of time, that's not what college athletics is supposed to be. And I know a lot of it has changed, and then the financial piece is as important and influential as ever. And the players are now getting a significant piece of the pie, which they rightfully deserve. But this is not, again, what college basketball is supposed to be. This is not what it's about. But I do believe this will be a net positive because we're going to have to see some action. We're going to have to see if guys like this are going to get cleared or not. And, I don't think they have a great chance to, but you never know. And maybe Will knows more than both of us do. But we're going to find out. We have SEC meetings next week, so I'm really excited for that as well.
Now, the player at the end he's talking about getting cleared is R.J. Lewis, and I've been very clear how I feel on that. I do not believe R.J. Lewis should be eligible. Now, that's not the player that's 25, 26 years old international. The one player who meets that standard is Yam Madar, who's 25, and he will need an eligibility waiver because of his military service in Israel, where every male has to serve in the military. So, yes, he's 25. He'll be 26 in December. I've also pointed out Chris Winkie was 28 when he won the Heisman and won a national championship. We're going to go invalidate Florida State's national championship in the year 2000? Didn't think so. Matt Moscona was 24 when he won a natty at LSU. Is that bogus? Didn't think so. Here's the problem I have with Todd Golden. Another gigantic hypocrite, clearly, talking about the 25, 26-year-old international players. Let's take a look, if we could, at Todd Golden's roster from this year at Florida. You want to do that? How about this, Todd Golden, while you slouch in your chair and try to cover your face because I'm about to expose you, you freaking hypocrite. Muse just a bit ago when we were doing Around the SEC talked about Ruben Chinyelu. Ruben Chinyelu is a great college basketball player. Just announced he's withdrawn from the NBA draft. He's going to return to Florida. You know how old Ruben Chinyelu is going to be when Florida tosses up the ball next year? He's going to be 23 years old. Oh, by the way, Ruben Chinyelu from Nigeria spent 2 years as a pro before going to Washington State, then Florida. He'll be 23 in the fall. How about that, Todd Golden? Got a problem with that? You don't have a problem with Ruben Chinyelu being 23, a former professional basketball player, playing in the SEC? No. What about Urban Clavazar? He's on Florida's roster from Slovenia. Spent 3 years as a professional basketball player internationally before going to Florida. He'll be 22 later this month. He'll be 22 in May. Interesting. When we keep going? Okay, oh, there's more. How about Alex Kovacev? Yeah, he's from Australia, played professionally in the NBL 1. Went from Australia to Sacramento State, now to Florida. Guess how old he is? 22. Oh, interesting. So you got a 23-year-old, a 22-year-old, a 22-year-old. How about Viktor Mikic? Viktor Mikic, he's from Serbia. He played 2 years of professional basketball before old Todd Golden. That was my bad impression of a reel. It's bad, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm on a roll. Don't stop me. Viktor Mikic from Serbia spent 2 years as a pro. Now as a 21-year-old, he's playing college basketball. Talked about Alex Condon, maybe the best player on their team from Australia. Spent 2 years professionally in the NBL 1. He'll be 22 coming up in July. Here we're talking about 23, 22, 22, 22, 21, all those guys with pro experience. And then let's talk about the recruiting class that Todd Golden's bringing in. They got center Arturas Butahevas. He's a Lithuanian who's been playing professional basketball in Lithuania. Then there is 22-year-old Slovenian forward Domen Petrovic, who's also part of this Florida cycle. So my math's not good, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 players who have professional international experience, all in their 20s, that'll be playing for the Florida Gators next year. Todd Golden is as giant a colossal hypocrite as all of the rest of them. You want to look at Will Wade's roster? They've added Divine Ugachukwu, who's 20 years old. He was at Michigan State. Abdi Bashir's at Kansas State. Austin Nunez at UTSA. Mo Diabate's at Kentucky. All those dudes are 22. I'm sorry, Divine Ugachukwu is 20. Bashir Diabate are 22. Nunez is 23. He's a fifth-year senior coming in from UTSA. These are veteran college transfers. That's no different than what Kurt Signetti did in football in Indiana. Go get experienced veteran players. They may not be lottery picks, but they're dudes that have played in a bunch of games. That's smart. Internationally, Bryce Desire, Marcio Santos, Salu Niang, all three. Desire and Santos are 23. Niang is 22 years old. My problem, as I said yesterday, I'm going to sit here again today. Marcio Santos, LSU beat Kentucky for Santos. If you have a problem with LSU bringing Santos, then you would have had a problem with Mark Pope flying halfway around the world on a plane to go recruit him. Salu Niang, it was LSU in North Carolina. LSU beats North Carolina for Salu Niang, who's 22. You got a problem with LSU recruiting Niang? Why don't you have a problem with North Carolina recruiting Salu Niang? That's the problem that I have here with Jeff Goodman, with Pat Forty, with Dick Vitale, with Todd Golden, who is probably should have been fired because he's a creep, and also now is clearly the most disgusting people are the ones that are just so obviously hypocritical. Like, you look into the camera, you tell the public one thing and you do something else. Like, you're sitting here criticizing Will Wade for recruiting 20-year-old dudes in their 20s who are former professionals playing international. Like, Todd Golden, more than half his roster is made up of that exactly. Dudes that are 21, 22, 23 years old that were former international pros. Like, it is the way that college basketball rosters are being built today. And look, if you don't like it, change the rules. But the point is, the NCAA allows for these players to play in the college game. And if you want to fix that and eliminate that, fine, then make the rule to do it. But if it's legal, it's legal. And everyone, including Todd Golden, is taking advantage of it. How stupid do you think we are, man? So annoying. Todd Golden. Let's go slip in some co-eds DMs again. Todd Golden. Jeez. That's the moral compass we need guiding college sports, right? Todd Golden. You break. All right. It's after further review. We're at Marucci's Hitter's house. It was storming earlier today. If it's raining where you are, you got roof leaks, call Parrish Construction Roofing. Raining where you are, not sure if you have roof leaks, still call Parrish Construction Roofing. One thing I'd always encourage you to check, go look at your downspouts and your gutters. If you see granules from your roof, from the shingles, that's a good indicator that your shingles are starting to wear and you could have issues with the integrity of your shingles in your roof. So let us come check it out. Free, no obligation roofing inspection, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. It's me and Terrio and Tilly and Joe and our whole staff, Morris and Goldberg, everybody. We'd love to help people. We're from this community. We live here, work here. We'd love to help you out. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Just type it into your browser, parrishbuilt.com. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back. Anthony Ranaudo is going to join us next. The LSU baseball season came to an end, so the pitching was obviously the giant culprit this season. How do they fix it next year? We'll ask Ranaudo next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com. One more time, agent225.com. When you go to the website, I want you to keep this in mind. Do you know how much your home is worth? If you own your home, what is the current valuation of your home? Do you know? If you don't, highly recommend you go use the home value tool at the homepage on agent225.com. Look, there are like national websites where you can get an estimated home value for your property. The problem is those don't use local market data. So Darren at agent225.com uses local market data, like has your neighborhood been upgraded? Is there a new development near your neighborhood? All that sort of stuff to help improve and give more accurate number on what your home is worth. So go to agent225.com, type in your address to the home value tool at agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Back here from Marucci Hitter's house. Y'all come on by and see us. Still got the hats, man. Y'all come pop on in, man. We're here right at the corner. Well, not the corner, but we're on Segan near Airline. you'll see the 104.5 ESPN vehicle out front, and they hooked us up, man, with these hats. It's the Marucci World Series hats, black with the fluorescent green rope. Hang on, I'm putting one on. Might have to adjust it, Alondra. Yeah, it's too small. I'm going to adjust it real quick. Anyway, come on by. We got 7 of them, so anybody comes in, walks in, you want one of these cool hats, they're yours. Just walk in. We'll sling you one. Come hang out here at Marucci Hitter's house. Hang out, do some shopping here in the storefront, take some hacks in the cages. You can learn more. Of course, you can always take care of their trade-in, trade-up sale. 40% off a Marucci or Victus bat if you trade in a competitor's bat. Ask about their memberships as well. It's here at Marucci Hitter's house. Anthony Ranaudo, former Tiger great, is good enough to join us here for a couple of minutes. Yo, dude, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually at the SEC tournament, man, so life is good. I made it down here, and there's no rain right now, so all good.
Were you there yesterday?
I was not. So didn't get to see my Tigers play, but was hoping to, but I had this kind of scheduled ahead of time. So unfortunately things didn't work out the way I wanted to.
Yeah, well, the season didn't really work out the way Jay Johnson and the Tigers wanted it to. You know, man, we were talking about this earlier, Anthony. You were here at a similar time, right? From, you know, the build in 08, the championship in 09, and then the subsequent disappointment in 2010, the year coming off a championship. You all made the postseason, but do you see any similarities to what you all went through from 09 to 10 to what this team went through?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was funny, you know, I was on Jordy Holtberg's show last week, and we were talking about this, you know, and it was obviously before LSU was eliminated, but, you know, I'm always a serial optimist. And, you know, with them going to the tournament, I reminded fans, you know, that in 2010, we were down and out. It was a little different format than it is now. Not everybody made it. We had to win the last weekend, 2 out of 3 against Mississippi State just to get into the SEC tournament. Then we went a nice little run. So, yeah, the SEC tournament is very interesting, but there is a lot of resemblance to that. And it's really hard to win after a national championship. You know, I've been saying it all year. And, you know, you saw it in 2024 too, right? That team struggled. It was a very, very similar footprint.
Why is it hard?
I honestly think because of the emotion, right? Because fans get so emotionally tied to outcomes, to players, to their identity, right? Use Kason Evans for an example this year, right? We were so emotionally tied to who he was as a player last year and what he did for that team, and he was so valuable. And little things here and there, I think, you know, create a story and a narrative, and I'm sure that's tough for a team to battle. I was part of that, right? I was in the locker room where there were similar narratives. The media has a job to do, and they're starting to tell a story that is unfolding, right? And unfortunately, that was kind of similar this year with some of those storylines, and it felt like it took, you know, fire over the second, you know, half of the year.
You know, I've kind of balanced in my brain. I've thought about a lot for LSU struggles this year. How much of it was they missed on recruits in the portal? How much of it was injuries? How much of it was you had guys that just didn't develop? I think it's pieces of all three, but what do you think was the most relevant part of LSU's failure this year?
To me, development. I think to your point, right, there was elements of all of those pieces. And maybe, again, some unrealistic expectations on this team. But at the same time, you know, some of the things that this team really struggled with this year were the basics of 101, right? Like hey, you got to throw 3 strikes before you throw 4 balls. And then when guys get on base, you got to not let them advance. And you got to not do things in your control to not let them advance and score, right? And between wild pitches and errors this year, this team just didn't do that. And that's what, you know, Jay's successful teams have had that identity, and that's where they just didn't have that this year.
Why?
I don't know, honestly. And for me, what I see, you know, again, just as a bystander, somebody who analyzes the game, who loves the game, who loves LSU, I see some guys that have elite stuff. You know, I'm talking 95 mile an hour plus fastballs, and they're throwing, you know, 40-50% sliders and curveballs. And to me, that's an identity crisis, a little bit of, hey, my fastball is really good and I'm going to attack you until you prove that you can beat me. I'm going to go out on this pitch and throw it this many, you know, or whatever. And so to a certain extent, I think there's like a nibble effect or almost a fear effect, like that they don't want to throw their fastball. So it seemed like at times they got into counts where they had to throw strikes over the middle of the plate. And then when they did, it got hit, right? So it was a really bad recipe for me that I kind of saw this year.
Do you think that's pitch calling from Nate Yeskie, or is that the ability to execute pitches? What do you attribute that to?
I think it's a little bit of both. I don't necessarily want to call Nate Yeskie out and say that, because I don't know behind the scenes of who's calling pitches, who has the control. But again, from a bystander, whoever is calling the pitches or whoever has the game strategy, whoever has the plan that is allowing that to happen, right, I think is a little bit of I don't want to say a culprit, but there's a little bit of responsibility that falls on that shoulder,
Yeah. Anthony Ranaudo is our guest. As they sort of turn the page to next year, who in that staff do you think are you most excited about seeing that could potentially have that big sort of meteoric rise?
I guess maybe because I love Chase and Evans so much and him and William are rated so high. I feel like there's so much expectations. I think Kaysen has a lot of room to grow. I watch him pitch in the first through third innings. His stuff is so electric. Like, we're talking, if he was in the big leagues with that stuff, he could get through a major league lineup one time through, absolutely, right now. But to me, the biggest jump for him to be a starter is managing that the second time through and the third time through, and then holding his stuff through that. So I guess for me, like, the potential and the ceiling for Kaysen Evans is so high. I would love to see that come to fruition. I don't know where he's throwing this summer or what his plans are. But for me, the upside of him and what he could turn into and what he could develop into if he makes that next step or turns, that next, page in his development, to me, that's like the most exciting part.
What do you think about Marcos Paz?
I love his stuff. Honestly, I think he has the potential. I really do. And to me, again, right, that's a guy that threw way too many balls, but he throws 95, 96 miles an hour. His average fastball is 95. One of the highest rated players that we had come in, right, from a stuff perspective. So I love his stuff. But again, I want to see that guy be like, until somebody hits my fastball over and over, I'll throw it down the middle and you guys prove to me that you guys can hit it, versus I'm going to give you 3 passes. But at one point he had 20 innings and 19 walks, I think, right? So, like, as a starting pitcher, you just can't have that. And to me, that was the DNA of this year's team, was the starting pitching didn't set the tone. And maybe I'm a little biased because I was a starting pitcher and a Friday night guy, right? But I felt like that was my responsibility, was to go out there and I owed it to my team to set the tone to this weekend, to say, hey, we're going to go at you guys. This is who we are as a staff and a team, and this is our identity. And so those are the little things that I want to see from, like, a Paz, and a Evans and a Schmidt.
At Anthony _Ranaudo is where you can get him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. When you think about rebuilding the roster for next year, how much of it do you think should be centered around portal players?
Yeah, it's interesting. The development of junior college players is one of the things that's most intriguing to me. And maybe it's because I've moved to Michigan, right? And I'm out of the SEC and the daily, perspective, and I see the grind of these guys. But the way that the portal has gone, and the NIL and the entitlement of some of these guys, and maybe just some of the narrative of the portal guys this year, and right, and how much, rumors of guys of how they're getting paid. Part of me wants to see some younger guys get in there and develop, and whether it's a JUCO guy or a freshman, or, I do think the portal is important, but I think selective, players in the portal is really what you're looking for. Guys that contribute right away, but also fit the right DNA of the team. And I think Jay did such a great job of that in 23, right? Like, Tommy and Skeens were obviously such generational talents, but they were also great culture members. They really contributed to the vibe of the whole organization and embodied LSU. And I think that's such an integral part of the portal, process.
Got a couple more for you. We've been having this conversation a little bit, and Jay seems to believe that Curiel, Milam, Brown, they're all going to go. The one that I think is most interesting is Stephen Milam. When you talk to scouts, he might be a round 5 or 6 guy, which would kind of slot him, Anthony, around the $500,000 range. And it sounds like, talking to some folks around here, LSU could probably get Milam a deal worth that. So, I mean, look, you went through this process. What are the things that Milam should be considering if it's the decision to go pro this year, or to return for a senior year if the money is sort of even or comparable?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's a fair assessment. It's for for a kid that wanted to come to LSU and play shortstop and win a national championship. Now, he's done those things. So from a resume standpoint, I think he's done enough to move on from LSU. But he also seems like a guy that cares about the Tigers more than himself, right? And I'm not saying going to the draft and accepting money is a selfish move at all, right? Because there's business decisions and elements in that. But at the same time, if he can make $500,000 in the draft and $500,000 at LSU, and maybe make $300,000 or $400,000 next year, still as a 6th rounder, 5th rounder, 8th rounder, whatever it is, or maybe increase as a 2nd or 3rd rounder, right? With a better year in a national championship and an LSU legacy that is, incomparable. I think that's a real element that these kids have in front of them now with this NIL, era. So I think it's something. He seems like that guy that could come back almost like in 2010 when Blake Dean came back, right? And kind of be that integral part of building around that rebuild and rebuilding that kind of LSU identity.
He's Anthony Ranaudo. Hey, who do you have winning the SEC tournament?
Ooh, it feels weird saying this, but I think the Florida Gators are going to win.
Why?
I just think the big league test, I think they got 6 or 7 big leaguers on that team. The arms on that team, I think their offense is starting to get healthy. And for some reason, Kevin O'Sullivan just seems to have his guys playing right at the right time. And I don't know. I just like their 1-2 punch, some of the arms out of the pen. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they're playing right now.
LSU got a firsthand look at that last weekend, man. Florida is playing as well as anybody. Hey, man, tell people what you got going on, man. Where can people find your stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved up to Michigan with, you guys remember the name, obviously, DJ LeMahieu,
of course.
LSU great, and, New York Yankees is retired, and he's actually coaching a summer ball team up in Michigan that he owns, the Royal Oak Leprechauns. So I'm helping DJ with all his player development. He's actually going to be the manager of that team, and he's got some really great things going on in Michigan. So we're really helping the next generation of baseball players, and it's been super fun reconnecting with DJ. At this point in his life. It's really fun.
Love it, dude. That is awesome, man. No, we'd seen the news that DJ was coaching the summer ball team, and I didn't know he was owning the team, but that's awesome, man. Congrats on that.
Yeah, you guys got to connect. I hope you get him on the show. Like I gave him your guys' contact, so hopefully he jumps on. He's definitely way more media forward than he was during his playing career.
Well, man, it would be hard to find someone who's less media forward. DJ was one of those guys when he was playing. God bless. I mean, he was locked into what he was doing, but he was one of those dudes that just went into an abyss. Like, it was impossible to get a hold of him. But no, I'd love to chat with him, man. So let's make that happen, dude. We appreciate you as always.
Always, Matt. Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys.
All right, bud. That's Anthony Ranaudo. We appreciate big guy as always. Love that dude. Great perspective, great energy. He's just an awesome dude. Like, just a great life perspective. You talk to Ranaudo anytime, you come out of that conversation with Ranaudo, like, just feeling good about life in the world. Love that guy. Okay, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. Blasia and the squad over there, man, they're awesome. Maybe you need an IV. They'll come to you. Your home, your office. I told you before, man, a couple times Erica was sick. Around the holidays, she got strep throat, was down and out. Called Decision Critical, boom. Had a nurse come to our house, gave her the IV in bed. Drew needed some blood labs drawn. It's really tough for him, just as a special needs kiddo with a lot of sensory stuff going on. The nurses came to our house at 9 o'clock, like on a Monday night, to do the blood draw. And then they raced the blood sample to a lab across town, so that way they could run the sample, run the test on the blood. They had to do it immediately. So they're just awesome, man. If you're bringing a newborn home and you need to sleep at night, their nurses can come take care of the baby while you all sleep and sort of catch up. If it's hospice, end of life care, if it's post-operative recovery, they're awesome. They can come if you do injections, you don't like giving yourself shots, like you could go into clinic and do that as well. All over the state of Louisiana, they got their Dallas office open as well. It's Decision Critical Concierge Nursing, decisioncriticalbr.com, decisioncriticalbr.com. All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us. We are halfway home on a Thursday edition of AFR. We opened up the show talking a little bit about Eddie O. Joining Lane Kiffin staff. We have talked a good bit about the LSU baseball Tiger season coming to an end. Alex Milazzo, another former Tiger who kind of went through this, right? The disappointment of 22, a national championship in 23, and then the subsequent disappointment of 24 that ebbed and flow, who's done it under Jay. So give us some perspective. Milazzo will be here in about 45 minutes. We'll look forward to that. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. When we come back, we'll dive into A few little Saints tidbits I want to get into, and Joe Burrow. When did you hear what Joe Burrow said yet? Maybe the most bold proclamation Burrow has made yet. And if you throw coin on NFL and futures bets, man, the Bengals might not be a bad look, considering what Joey B said. You're going to hear that as we continue. Stick around with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Let's rev, R-E-V, revfiber.com, revfiber.com. You ever have that like spinning, like your little spinning wheel on your internet? Like you're trying to toggle the web pages and it's just taking forever. And like, I get it. This is first world problems. It takes 3 seconds for a page to load instead of like 0.3 of a second. But this is our life. Rev Fiber is awesome. You're talking about lightning fast internet speeds up to 5 gigs. Backed by an all-fiber network, so the cables are buried under the ground, right? So you have to worry, storms come, knock power lines down. You have to worry about that. And they do everything. High-speed internet, cable, phone, security, home automation. They do all of it for you at Rev, and they're local. 90 years of serving our local communities, revfiber.com. Did I mention they're going to give you better prices as well? Check them out, R-E-V, revfiber.com, revfiber.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
I should probably wait like
give her
30 seconds.
Give her a sec.
Yeah, I gotta wait 30 seconds till Brenda Summers gets in the car, and so she could turn the radio back on.
I think she just honked.
Wait, do you think she was honking?
I think she just honked.
Brenda, honk again. We're doing this for an audience of one. Brenda, honk again if you're listening right now. She's wild, bro. Oh, Elijah, I'm not. You just explain what just happened.
So, our girl Brenda just walks in.
Brenda Summers, shout out.
Summers, shout out. And she's like, oh my God, I'm a huge fangirl moment. I love Matt Moscona. And she was like, I don't know if she wants me to say this part, but this part cracked me up and it was iconic. She was like, if I ever know that you're out somewhere and I get home before I take my bra off, I'm going over there.
She definitely said that. She was so good.
It's the first thing ladies do when they get home.
I got to.
So,
bro, I don't blame her. I live with one. You don't think I know that? Of course I know that.
She made it.
Listen, I respect your need to be comfortable.
Be free
in your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she didn't. She drove over here to Marucci.
Awesome. Super
hyped. She said, I'm going to go get in my car. I said, go get in your car. She started running to her car. Now she's honking at us.
She was just, sometimes you could tell, right? So, by the way.
That was the best energy.
Today, we're at Marucci Hitter's house. Like Brenda came by. She got we got the 104.5 ESPN swag table over there. We still got the Marucci World Series hats right here. Come on by. Just take it. Just go on and take it. Anyway, you can always tell. You do enough remotes over the years when someone's sort of like
lurking,
hovering, loitering. It's not a bad thing.
No.
But you could tell like if someone's just shopping or if they're waiting.
Right.
So she was waiting. So I mean, for the segment end, headsets off. It's like, what's up? She's like, oh my God, I'm a fan girl. I was like, well, you just made my day, Brenda. How about Brenda Summers?
Shout out Brenda Summers.
Shout out to Brenda Summers.
That was incredible.
I hope her daughter's listening now because she's like,
I think
her daughter didn't think she was going to do it, but she called her daughter, be like, hey, turn this on. Oh, Brenda, by the way, we have giant radio towers for Baton Rouge, Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles. We're on WBTR, YouTube, live stream app. We're everywhere, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, people in Brazil listen.
Like, all over, and right now we're talking to one person.
Yeah.
It's just
you're very hyper specific.
Everybody else who's listening is like, I feel excluded from this conversation. Well, you are, just for a moment.
Yeah. Shout out Brenda.
But Brenda, so like, go to YouTube, right? Or tell your daughter, if she's not listening live right now, it's cool. Tell her to go to YouTube, the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. You'll find After Further Review live, and just scroll to this timestamp here for in hour number 2, near the end of hour 2. Shout out, Brenda. It's my girl.
She said you were going on her Hall of Fame.
She did?
Yeah.
She said I'm going on her Hall of Fame. How you like that, Alondra?
Is she back?
Did you? She just walked back in. What is she talking about? I told you, bro. What did she say? I don't. We should tell her about
Something about the daughter. She was on the phone.
When we have headsets on,
we can't hear you,
girl. Noise can't. Like if this is another PSA that everyone in our.
I'm not ignoring you.
Yeah, at our Nashville remote this past year.
Don't trigger me.
I wish you were just on camera for that face. All right. If you ever go to a radio remote and you see people wearing over-the-ear headphones, like if you're watching right now, the over-the-ear headphones with the mic in front, you come talk. I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you. I'm not being rude. These are noise-canceling headphones intentionally to concentrate the noise from the headset so I can hear the return, I can hear myself, and not you. Like we've done remotes. Boy, we are really. Brenda
derailed it. You blame me. It was Brenda.
This time it's Brenda's fault. Nashville was. But the most frenetic remote ever was SEC Championship in 2019, because T-Bob and I were doing Eagle Game Day from the Fan Fest. And I've done shows at SEC Fan Fest before, just with different setups. That time, we were just at a table in the middle of the Fan Fest with, those like black curtains, that like partition curtains.
Right.
It was just that black partition curtain behind us with like a funnel cake booth next to us.
Ooh.
And on the and on the other side of the curtain was the field where like the bands come in and play and do the pep rally.
Yeah.
We're doing Eagle Game Day with literal marching bands.
Yeah.
10 feet away. So, point is.
Yeah.
You come into. I can't hear you. Okay. There's your PSA. Yeah. Shut up, Brenda.
Shout out to Brenda. Incredible stuff.
Brenda had glasses. She should go to the Williamson Eye Center. How about that transition?
Love it.
Can I get one, Muse? Can I get one, please? I mean, I feel like I deserve it. WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. WilliamsonEye.com. Dr. Blake Williamson, he's awesome. Really a Renaissance man as well. Dude loves music. What's that? He loves Americana. What? What are you gonna?
He went to go see Oasis.
He went to London to see Oasis when they did their reunion. He is very much a Renaissance man, but he's an amazing dude. A great ophthalmologist, and you will be in fantastic hands. If you have ever thought of, what would it be like to live life without contacts or glasses? I'm just telling you, as someone who lived that life for 30 years, make the call. It will change your life. Call the Williamson Eye Center. Get your options. Do it. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Man, I'm short on time now. Brenda really derailed us, but I want to do the Burrow thing because I told you I would. Let me start this, and I'll pick it up on the other side. I know Muse has to do Tigers and the Pros as well, but Joe Burrow met with reporters on Wednesday for the first time since the season ended. They had voluntary workouts, and after Wednesday's voluntary workout, Burrow meets with reporters, and listen to what he said about their roster.
I mean, you saw what this roster looked like in 2021, albeit you were young, but that was a Super Bowl roster. Do you think what you see right now from this organization and in that locker room is a Super Bowl roster?
I think this is the most talented roster that we've had since I've been here.
Joey B said, in no uncertain terms, most talented roster we've had since I've been here. He brought up specifically, obviously, the trade for Dexter Lawrence. He brought up Boye Mafe, who they signed from Seattle. He brought up safety Brian Cook, who they signed to a 3-year deal from the Chiefs. Obviously, you're looking at a team that is losing Trey Hendrickson to the Ravens, but a team that struggled defensively a year ago. That the knock on the Bengals early in Burrow's career was the offensive line was terrible. They have gotten better on the offensive line. The defense last year was bottom 3 in the NFL. And Burrow missed 9 games with he had a toe. So the toe, he doesn't have the toe anymore. And the defense has improved. And the expectation is the Bengals are going to be really, really, really good. Let me grab a quick break. We're going to come back. Muse is going to do Tigers in the pros. And we did this yesterday with the Saints, the game-by-game point spreads. I told you the Saints are only favored in 5 games, which is wild because they're over under 7.5. But the Saints are only favored in 5. Wait until you hear what Vegas thinks of Cincinnati. That's next. Stay here. It's AFR from Marucci Hitter's House.
AFR
rolling along here on a Thursday edition. Always love telling you about our friends at the Renaissance and the Watermark. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark, Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Absolutely gorgeous. If you've never stepped foot inside of Watermark Baton Rouge, you got to do it. And sometimes people tell me, Matt, I hear you talk about Watermark and the Gregory and eating there and the lobby bar to make it sound so good. I just don't want to go park downtown. Awesome. I hate parking downtown too. I work downtown and I hate parking downtown. I got a great thing for you. If you're going to eat at the Gregory, guess what? Free complimentary valet parking. Literally just pull right up to the front. Boom. Valet will take your car. Complimentary valet parking when you're dining at the Gregory at Watermark Baton Rouge. Great. Problem solved. So get on down and go see our friends over at Watermark Baton Rouge. Downtown Baton Rouge at the corner of 3rd and Convention. It is the picture of a luxury hotel. Check it out, downtown Watermark, Baton Rouge.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Step inside the heart of baseball with a Marucci campus tour right here in Baton Rouge. Explore the wood shop, the paint booths, the finishing rooms where the official bats of MLB are made, and experience museum-style exhibits and interactive displays. You can see available tours. Book your tickets now at maruccisports.com/campus-tour. maruccisports.com/campus-tour. I told you I'm going to go through the game-by-game win-loss, the point spreads game by game for the Bengals. Joe Burrow said it's the most talented team that he's had in Cincinnati, and this would sort of speak to that. We'll get to it in a second. Right now, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we'll start with some Major League Baseball. Jaden Hill, really good relief outing a day ago against the Rangers. Inning in a third, 1 hit, shutout baseball. He was fantastic, but the Rockies did lose. Dylan Cruz last night, 1 for 4 with the Nationals. It was a single. He did come around to score. They are currently in action right now on getaway day. Cruz currently 0 for 2. Nats did win 8-4 a night ago. Cole Henry, speaking of the Washington Nationals, Cole Henry's been sent back down to AAA. Got a second hold of the season a night ago. Inning in the third, perfect outing. No walks, 2 strikeouts for Henry. Couple of outings, ERA stands at 0 in his return to AAA. Gage Jump, dominant start a night ago for the Vegas Aviators and the A's organization. 7 shutout frames, just 4 hits, didn't walk anybody, and struck out 9. He got saddled with a no decision in that one. And lastly, Cam Sanders has also been sent back down to AAA. Tough luck for him last night. 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit and an unearned run, and because of that, was stuck with the loss. So his record in AAA now 0-2 on the year. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Supper Club, SupperClubBTR.com. That's where you can get your reservations. Y'all, it's Thursday. Start your weekend now at Supper Club. Don't go home. Supper Club opens in 7 minutes. It's 4:53. Don't go home. Go to Supper Club. Moscona don't have a jacket. Doesn't matter. All you need is a collar. That is the stated dress code. One of the big misconceptions. Hopefully we've broken that misconception. People think you have to have a sport coat. I love to throw a jacket on when I go to dinner. If you don't, that's okay. Just make sure you have a collared shirt on, and you're good to go there at Supper Club. But listen, if you don't have a reservation, open seating at the bar, so get there early, have dinner at the bar, enjoy a cocktail, enjoy the ambiance. It's Supper Club. If you've never been, go. If you've been and it's been a while, it's time to go back. If you go all the time, try something on Chef's special menu every night. Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. The best dining experience you will ever have. SupperClubBTR.com. The Cincinnati Bengals are favored in 15 of their 17 games. Early lines from Vegas. There are only 2 games all season where the Bengals are underdogs. Week 2 at Houston, they're a 2.5-point underdog. Week 7 at Baltimore, they're a 3.5-point dog. Joe Burrow's Cincinnati Bengals are favored in 15 games. After that Week 7 game against Baltimore, they're favored in every game after Week 7. They're favored in every home game. The biggest number is 7.5. It's Week 18. They're a 7.5-point favorite against Cleveland. You might want to get on that early, depending on what they might or might not be playing for at the end of the season. The biggest they are as an underdog all season is the game at the Ravens in Week 7 when they're a 3.5-point underdog. Y'all, the Bengals were my pick last year to win the Super Bowl. And look, Burrow was coming off a year where he had every right to be an MVP consideration in 24. And so I picked them to take that step in 25 and win the Super Bowl. Obviously, the defense stunk, and Burrow's injury cost them. By the way, River City's 1-hour air van just passed by on airline. Told y'all, I see them all over. Anyway, injury derailed them last year. They are better. They're more talented defensively. Burrow is motivated. They have a manageable schedule in a winnable division where John Harbaugh's not there anymore. Mike Tomlin's no longer in Pittsburgh. I like the Bengals. Hour 3 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Log on to firstsouthland.com. Go have lunch with my buddy Ben Sanders over at First South on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. Looking forward to that. Always love hearing what they have going on because even though they've been around for 110 years, and like farmers know, like if you're going to finance land for agriculture, you need 1,000 acres for agriculture, you go to First South Farm Credit. Like farmers know that. And so many of you know, like if you're trying to buy recreational property, maybe it's that land in Mississippi, the hunting property in Texas, whatever it may be, go finance it First South Farm Credit. Maybe you don't need the recreational property. Maybe you want to build your family's dream home and you need 20, 50, 100 acres, Clinton, Covington, St. Francisville, wherever. First South Farm Credit. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com.